Hello and welcome back to Undefeated. We'll be continuing where we left off, which, if you recall, is at the little beach party or retirement party for this Ryan dude. And last we saw, basically Redline was drunk and Bruce was there. He was uncharacteristically friendly with Zander and with everyone else. I mean, he was still his usual Bruce self, but, you know, he's not attacking anyone, at least. He seems to be not wanting to be friends with Zander, but sort of like just... he wants to be like on good terms, I guess you could say. Like, yeah, you know, we're colleagues. Yeah. But yeah. But, as with most parties, shit's about to hit the fan. Because, yeah, you know, you can't leave an unintended drunk hyena at a party, but yeah. Anywho, so without further ado, let us see what happens in the rest of round 4. The party goes on for a bit, the music getting louder the later the night goes on. Someone dims the lights, the sky. It turns to night time eventually, but people are still raring to go. Even Ryan looks like he's having a nice time. Redline manages to convince people, Bruce included, to play Spin the Bottle. Well, his modified version of it. Whoever the bottle lands on has to play Truth or Punch, where you have to tell the truth or get punched in the gut. Most of the guys picked Punch on their first turn, then Truth after. Once they got a hard question, they just went back to punching each other. Seems alcohol really gets these guys fired up. Drayden finally returns with the volleyball victim. The poor guy's muzzle had to get bandaged up before he can get back to jamming out with his buds. He and Bucky actually just wander off to go for a little walk on the beach. I find it hard to drown out the pounding of the music, even if my party anxiety has boiled down to a simmer. Staring out into the ocean helps keep me calm. I wish I came here more often. It's probably the closest that I'll get to a beach vacation at this rate. Hey. Bruce approaches from the side about 6 or 7 feet away, his back against the wall lining this patio looking out over the beach. Hey. He responds in silence. A breath inhales, then a pause, and a slow exhale. Enjoying the party? I can barely hear him under all the music. Not really my thing. Bruce grunts under his breath and sips a bit from his cup. When's the next weigh-in? Don't need one. Don't need one? Nah. Any particular reason? They don't tell me everything. You know as much as I do. When were they planning on telling me? Again, no clue. All Ted told me is that they won't need any more pictures. They took enough pics and videos of our fights to get whatever marketing bullshit they need, so we don't need to do weigh-ins anymore. Oh. Sorry. He grumbles. Don't gotta apologize to me. Never like going to those fucking things anyway. Bruce turns his head to a cluster of people. At least Red is enjoying himself. He does that a lot. Yeah, he talks a lot too. You don't gotta remind me. That manages to get a chuckle from Bruce. Heh, yeah. He talks a lot about his friends. Says a lot of nice stuff about you too. And I bet that he'd be nice to you even if you were as mean as you think you are. So, you know, maybe you can chill the fuck out, yeah? Okay. Our eyes meet for a split second, then he turns away. Why are you telling me all this? I don't know. You seemed pretty worried about it a while back, after the haircut and all. After the haircut? The trim? I remember getting really high from the meds and someone carried me to my room, but that... Wait. What are you... Attention everybody! It's Ryan's birthday! The music dims down as everyone turns to Redline. Ryan is laughing uncomfortably as people start to cheer and wish him a happy birthday. Dude, it's not my birthday. You're drunk. No, you're fucking hammered, dude. They start to stammer about who's more drunk. Bruce and I wander up to the crowd, if only to observe Red being a giggling mess. Alright, everyone, shut up. It's not my birthday. He yells the words with some deadly serious conviction, but goes back to smiling after. A chill creeps up my spine. Easy, dude. If it's not your birthday, then why are we celebrating? The lizard sort of scowls and chugs his cup while Redline rambles. Cause I know you didn't quit. What the hell are you talking about? The big grin spreads across Redline's face. Come on. You know I get around. I know that you got fired. The crowd's rambles drop to a whisper, all eyes on the hyena. You got fired. Cause you're so mean. And you beat everyone up in the gym. But I don't think you're mean. You're a lizard man. You got that tough skin. Or you're some kind of snake. Either way, it's a fun party. Are you gonna celebrate when you leave? Or get some stupid shitty job where everyone forgets who you are? Your friends all down here living their dream, and your family doesn't want anything to do with you? What the hell is someone like you supposed to do? Maybe you start your own gym and have them all beat each other too? Crunch. Ryan's fist crashes into Redline's muzzle, forcing him backwards as everyone around springs into action. A dozen or two drunk, angry men try to engage, whether it's to defuse or to swing on instinct. Someone catches Redline and Bruce immediately charges into the fray. The dino grabs Ryan, pulling him into a chokehold and holding him away from Redline. Everyone shut the fuck up! Whatever yelling, moving, fighting had broken out stops instantly. Bruce's booming voice silences the crowd, save for one thing. Redline, propped up in someone's arms, giggling like a hyena. Ryan tries to struggle, swinging at Bruce's arms, but I can tell his chokehold is firm. The lizard starts to resist less and less as seconds pass. I'm cool. He taps out, desperately slapping against Bruce's bicep to signify that he's submitted. Bruce doesn't budge, dragging Ryan off to one side behind the crowd. Everyone else starts to mull around, the crowd dissipating. What the hell is going on? Bucky charges in, first to the giggling Redline, then over to Bruce and Ryan. I can hear him shouting something drowned out by the music. An exhausted Drayden comes jogging up shortly after, and he is considerably out of breath. The doctor immediately rushes to Redline, who gets passed off into Drayden's arms. Zander, can you give me a hand? I don't like hearing this panic in his voice. I too follow up, and after some awkward positioning, we manage to get Redline lifted up onto my back. Drayden leads the way, marching straight out of the emergent chamber. It's a long, silent walk from the beach to the medbay. Silent, save for Redline's constant, incessant giggling. I'm almost scared. I knew hyenas laughed a lot, but this... it doesn't feel natural. He sounds nervous, scared. Weird to think that just a few weeks ago, I was in a similar position, getting carried away by Redline after the whole bench press incident. Maybe this is how he felt. Maybe he didn't carry me away out of pity. Maybe he was just scared for me. But soon enough, we make it to an empty room, and I manage to deposit the giggling hyena into a bed. Keep him there. I need to go grab something to stop the bleeding. The doctor leaves, and I'm left alone with Redline. He's still going, laughing like a car engine turning over and over and over and over again. A paw reaches out to me. I let it fall flat, and it reaches out again. For the first time since the punch, Redline looks at me. He's crying. I've seen him cry from laughter before, but this isn't the same. Zan. I'm not sure what comes over me. His desperate attempts to pull me close, or to grab me, to have me near him. I step closer and Redline yanks me into him. his arms locking behind me. I do the same. His laughter falters for a second, only getting louder as his muzzle rests on my shoulder. He swallows and he laughs. The laughter chokes and he cries. Redline clutches me, his full weight pressing against my body as he folds forward. And he sobs. I'm so sorry. I fucked it up again. Again? Every few sobs, he slips back into laughter, only to cling to me tighter. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know why I keep doing this. I tense my arms a bit, complimenting the hug. This only managed to make him sob harder. It's okay. You'll be okay. My hands rub up and down his back gently. For a moment, his sobs are heavy, weary, exhausted. A few seconds pass, though, and he starts to calm down, the cries reduced to sniffles and the occasional drunk hiccup. After a moment, Drayden comes back with a roll of gauze. I pull away, leaving Redline's drunken arms to fall flat. He almost falls forward, too, but Drayden catches him and holds him in place. Sorry. Drayden bundles up a bit of gauze and holds it over the bleeding nose. It's okay, Red. Sorry. It's all right. You're okay. I need you to stay awake for me, okay? Yes, sir. Sorry. Shh. You're all right. His voice is so warm and soft, like a father comforting a child. Zander, could you please wait in my office? It's down the hall, last door on the right. I don't need to question him. I make my way out and head into an empty room. It looks identical to any other examining room I've been in. I'm starting to wonder if he just claimed this one as his office. After a few moments pass, Drayden strolls in and shuts the door behind him. Sorry about that, Zander. Are you feeling all right? I'm fine, just a bit shaken up. How's Redline? He drops down in his seat. Nosebleed, but nothing broken, thankfully. He'll be all right. Right. I take a beat. I'm not sure how to address this. And the crying? Right, you saw that. It's, Just then the door creaks open and a familiar kangaroo peeks his head in. He darts to Drayden, then notices and smiles at me. Ah, you got company. I can come back later. No, it's fine. How are things? Bucky steps in and closes the door quietly behind him. He sets a large medicine ball, roughly the size and shape of a cylindrical watermelon, on the examining table. And where did you get that? One of the great mysteries of our world, Drayden, dear. We got Ryan sorted, for the most part. Security got called to take him back up to his room. Bruce is clearing out the party. Wanted to check in on Red, but the lights were off, so, Drayden sighs and leans back in his chair. Bucky just stands there awkwardly, both of them silent for a moment. Is this something that happens often? The punching? No, not with Redline at least. The drinking? Yeah. Redline drinks? Yeah, you probably don't see it too often, since alcohol isn't allowed outside of the parties. I've never really known how to approach him about it either, since you Tier 1 fighters aren't normally even allowed at the parties. Is he an alcoholic? Drayden and Bucky both avert their eyes. It's hard to say. If he had unrestricted access to alcohol, it's a possibility. At the very least, he cuts loose a bit too hard. At this point, it's a pattern, and it's not a pattern that I like seeing. Hearing about. I don't really go to the parties either, so... It's been weeks since he called me Buck. Well, aside from the party, but he's pretty wasted, so I don't count that. I've seen him alone more often than not these days. Normally he's got his group of friends buzzing around, but lately, not so much. I know when there's a party, he goes wild. Big guy like Bruce could handle 4 or 5 big drinks in one night, no problem. But Red's about a third of his weight, and he's downing 6 or 7. I feel like he's overcompensating. He's way more lively at those parties than he has been in last month. Pair that drinking with his anxiety and depression, and He clears his throat and looks to Bucky. But that's still something that we need to talk to him about, so... Anxiety. Drayden looks like he said something that he shouldn't have. Whatever happens, we all know Ryan was out of line. Security's taking care of him, and he'll be out of the facility for good tomorrow. What Redline said, was that true? About Ryan getting fired? Bucky sighs and looks away. Yeah, he was spot on with that. After what he did to you in class, we had a little chat, where he went on to threaten me and a few other folks. We put up with a lot of bullshit down here, but threatening staff is a major no-go. Managed to get in touch with the commissioner, well, Ted, and they went ahead and cut Ryan off completely. I don't get it. He wasn't this bad when he started. After a dozen years, I don't know. Guess it'll do shit to ya. It could be a case of CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Bucky nods, but I think Drayden can see my blank expression. Drayden leaning forward dejectedly as he continues. I'm sure you boys know a thing or two about it. It's a degenerative brain disorder caused by trauma to the skull. Take too many hits to the head and your brain tissue starts folding more and more. Over the years, they just stop working right. Jesus. I knew head injuries were a serious thing, but hearing it described like that, it's scary. Ryan's been to the medbay more often than most fighters, and he's been down here longer than most too. That sounds like the perfect combination for CTE. Is there any way to know for sure? The doctor sighs. No, there's no way to know for sure until people can examine his brain, and that requires an autopsy. But the mood swings, the violent tendencies, I don't know. It seems like the textbook definition. Too many coaches down here don't give a shit about this kind of thing. Full contact sparring, the stupid focus on being manly and toughing out injuries. Bucky clenches his fists. They encourage this shit, and makes me fucking sick. So, what can he do? Nothing. I mean, best we can do is make him aware of it and, I don't know, offer her some support system? Bucky scoffs. Doubt Fang is gonna give him the time of day once they can't milk his concussion for money anymore. Just another body to throw out on the fire to keep the lights on. And pay for the commissioner's fucking vacation homes. The three of us are silent for a long time, save for the buzzing of the fluorescent lights above us. I don't know what to say. I don't know if I even want to say anything. Redline's in the next room over, sleeping the alcohol off. I hope he's sleeping well. Another week passes, another fight night. This one feels like it's arrived much sooner than the last. Even though it's only my third fight, I feel weird not doing the weigh-in or any sort of promotional lead-up to the fight. Before I joined Fang, they took a bunch of pictures and videos of me to use for marketing, and their PR people handle everything. It lets us focus on nothing but the fight. At least I don't have to deal with any sort of press, or God forbid, Bruce. How you feeling? Nervous. Alright, aside from that. Kinda cold, I guess? It is pretty chilly down here, yeah. The party last week sent a bit of a ripple through the facility. Some people knew Ryan more than others, but everyone heard of what happened to Redline. He was around for a day or two after, but I've been pretty much alone since then. Redline's barely shown his hide. I don't blame him. That must have been pretty embarrassing to find out after he'd sobered up. It feels weird. Bruce wasn't around so much, and Redline only really went straight to and from classes. I don't even know if he's watching my fight. Not that it really matters. I'm not feeling super confident about the fight this time around, but I probably shouldn't tell Bucky that. Ugh. Fuck, it's really cold down here in these hallways. More like catacombs. Heh, are you gonna be alright? Yeah, maybe the heat on the lights and the rings will warm me up. Or the heat of Bruce's blood on your fists. Just trying to warm you up, buddy. Come on. This is a fight. Right. Zan, come here, bud. He kneels down in front of me. It's been a heavy month. It has. But none of that is gonna fuck with you in the ring. Right. Zan. What? He grips my arms tight, not hard enough to hurt, but firm enough to get my attention. What are you gonna do in there? The same as last time? Not the same. Not the same. We can adapt to what Bruce did. You were so close last time. I know you can do it. We've been practicing. You've been working your ass off. He shakes me gently in his arms. You're gonna knock him the fuck out, alright? I dart my eyes away. Yeah. The kangaroo stares at me with an earnest smile and lets out a quiet sigh. I think he knows that I don't believe him either. That's the spirit, Zander. I step onto the elevator with the attendant, and Bucky stands there, silent as the door closes. It feels quieter than normal on the ride down. I haven't seen Bruce since the party, and before that, since our talk in the gym that night. I feel like I fucked something up, but I don't know what. There's something missing. Maybe it's Bruce? He doesn't like the situation any more than I do. Okay, that might be a lie. He's probably a lot less scared for his life than I am. Maybe it's Redline. He's been pretty absent for a while now. It's made the room a lot quieter, but it just feels different. It feels wrong. Something is wrong and I don't know what. And I'm scared. But I guess I have to fight now. The attendant was silent the whole way down. I guess he knows what I have to deal with. Maybe he'd feel uncomfortable speaking up. Or maybe he's silent out of the respect for the dead. Who knows? The lights come up, but my chin stays down. Maybe everyone at home will think that I'm meditating or praying. The irony of that. Maybe some god will have mercy and make this my last fight. And speak of the devil. Bruce's elevator door dings and the man of the hour stomps out. He's almost looking pretty quiet, mouth welded shut in a scowl. He raises a fist as he enters, soaking in whatever cheers the crowd at home might be giving him. I remember his walkout music was pretty cool back when I would watch his fights. But for once, he's quiet. Bruce moves to the center of the ring and scowls at me. There is a pain in his eyes. Not too chatty today, huh? No fun little quips or scathing commentary on my size? Nothing? He turns his eyes away and sighs. Nah. I gotta end this quick. Got something else to take care of tonight. He's not even trying to make a show out of it, is he? Is he bored of this? What, are you not even gonna try? The dinosaur sighs and brings his hands to a fighting position. Let's just get this over with. It's like he's not even interested. Like he thinks he's better than me. I'm out here trying not to die, doomed to a life of this bullshit, and he's just coasting through it. I don't know what comes over me, but I charge in, lunging for Bruce. He sends a punch forward as I move, but I lean to the side. The fist meets air, his thick arm only centimeters from my head. His free hands is still defending his face, and for a split second, Bruce's body is completely unprotected. My uppercut lunges deep, meeting his mark in the center of Bruce's midsection. The dino grunts, his body leaning forward slightly and immediately straightening back up. He turtles up, crouching down with his guard covering his face and body. It's tough to move when you're in a posture like that, but even tougher for your opponent to get in. At this point, I've already circled around him and positioned near the center of the ring. His eyes peek out from over his gloves, taking careful steps towards me. I know his range at this point. I have to make sure that he doesn't get close enough to damage me without me being able to retaliate. I have to wait until he's got an opening, then I can go in. The two of us circle each other for a bit. He's trying to hunt prey, but I won't let him. Every blow he throws, I dodge. Every step he takes, I take my own. I have to keep pace before he gets the upper hand. He can't keep turtling forever. Even if he peeks out from behind his guard to throw a punch or two, I keep moving, not only to evade the punches, but to also keep myself from getting cornered. Our dance comes to an end when Bruce scowls and uncurls from his guard slightly. Stop making this harder than it has to be. His speed increases and he rushes forward with 2 blows to the body. I can't move any further back. I have to stand my ground. Those fists collide with my guard, crashing painfully against my elbows. If you would just... Ugh. Whatever he was going to say was cut short by my fist slamming his jaw shut. The uppercut rocks his skull for a second, and he looks back down at me with a scowl. So you're not... Again interrupted with my fist straight to his snout. Bruce lets out a snort, a bit of blood loosening up from his nose. Fine. His arms shoot out, wrapping around my head before I can manage to circle out. I'm bent forward, my head tucked into his chin as I struggle to shove him away. I know my heels are against the back line, but if I step over them, there's no guarantee that I'll be able to get back in bounds in time. I swing a hook for his body, and after tanking it with a grunt, he takes a step back, dragging me with him, but keeping his body outside of my arm's reach. Sorry. He spoke under his breath, loud enough for only me to hear. He's sorry? Sorry for what? Fuck! Bruce drives a knee up into my abs, plowing clean through any resistance I try to give. Like a battering ram bursting through my defenses, I almost feel my back bulge out as I double over his tree trunk of a thigh. Instantly, oxygen leaves my body, forced out by the champion. I still cling to his arms with some sort of hope that I can come back from this. I pull and pry with all of my might until finally... Slam. A second knee cleaving into my midsection again. I can't even react before a third, then a fourth, then a fifth lands in the same spot. I can feel my body breaking, every muscle giving in as the last bits of strength and defiance are slammed out through the middle of my back. That calm you down? Motherfucker. I can still fight back. I have to. Bruce releases the clinch and I stumble forward, swinging my fists aimlessly for his body. One connects, but despite his face contorting, it doesn't stop his uppercut from clipping my jaw. It's not heavy, but strong enough to send me off balance. I can't go out, not like this. I need to cover up and regroup. I can't fight with my head swimming like this. With my guard up, I leave my body unprotected for only a second, which gives Bruce all the time in the world to follow through. In one swift motion, his leg pistons out, landing clean in the center of my abs. Pain explodes out from my center, my lungs empty, my body aching. The kick sends me seemingly soaring backwards, my feet unable to catch me while I stumble. I collapse in a heap, coming to a rest far outside of the ring. Whenever this happens on TV, they play a countdown timer. The fighter has 10 seconds to get back in the ring before the fight ends. I have to move. I have to move. I need to move. Please. Every ounce in my body is in agony. A single knee from Bruce would drain even a top fighter's stamina dry, and he gave me 5. Son of a bitch. I reach forward, forcing heavy breaths as I start to crawl to the ring. I'm sick of him, of his shitty attitude. He thinks he's better than me and he's not even fucking trying. Every day I'm giving more and more of myself to this place, and I can't even get a fucking day off. And when I get a break, it's because this fucking animal breaks me in half. I'm not going to let him coast by like this. I can't do that. If I have to die like this, then I'll make him work for it. Bit by bit, piece by piece. Every drop of blood that I shed will stain the ground he stands on, and I'm going to make him regret it just as much as I do. And I'm going to make him as scared of me as I am of him. I managed to crawl to the ring's edge. I don't know how long it's been. Everything hurts. It all hurts so much. I shouldn't be able to pick myself up, and yet I lift up on one knee and turn my head up. Bruce is looking down at me. He's not mad. He's not smiling. He looks like he's hurting. His eyes close, and before I know it, he steps down onto me. My body gives no resistance. I collapse under him, and as I fall, the bell rings, signaling the end of the fight. The foot was firm, but not as forceful as the stomp that he used to break my ribs last fight. It's as if he's putting his foot down, giving an end to the fight for good. Bruce once again holds up a fist in victory, soaking in whatever cheers people were giving at home, but the silence of not only the arena, but Bruce as well, feels eerie. He holds the pose for a short moment, then steps off. He backs away for a step as I struggle to lift myself up. I need to at least be able to stand right foot up, and fuck, I can't even get my breathing steady. My muscles have gone limp. Absolutely no strength behind any of my movements. Bruce hesitates, glaring down at me, then turns to walk back to his elevator. The doors on my side open as well, and Bucky charges out. Coach. Shh, you're all right. Come here, big guy. His voice is gentle, as are his hands as he reaches down under my form. With hardly any difficulty, Bucky hoists me over his shoulder and turns towards my elevator. I get a good view of Bruce's backside as he strolls to his door. He's been silent for so long, not even a taunt. He's not even trying. He didn't even have to. Hey. Bruce stops, already inside his elevator. Fuck you. You can't even bother to take this seriously. Is this all just nothing to you? Bruce takes a deep breath, then turns to look at me. The doors close. Bucky pats my back and moves us into the elevator. Easy, Tiger. You took a beating out there. I know, I want to say. It's taking all my energy to breathe enough to keep myself conscious. My blood is racing, but I can't do anything about it. Maybe I should just rest. We're gonna take you to the med bay. It didn't look like you took too much internal damage, but Drayden's gonna make sure. You did good out there. You fought your hardest. But Bruce didn't. He's given up. It's not a fight for him anymore. Maybe it never was. Maybe I just needed some rest. It's about 3 in the morning and I'm feeling restless. My blood has simmered down, but there's too much on my mind. It's hard to sleep after a fight like that. Drayden said that it didn't seem like there was anything broken, but with how thick Bruce's knee is, they took some scans just to make sure. I'm sleeping in the med bay just for the night. I'm way too tired. I don't know how much longer that I can keep doing this. I caught a glimpse of the bruises on my body and almost got sick just from looking at it. And sitting up, it hurts to even breathe. I don't know when I'll be able to sit upright without it aching again. Fucking asshole. You could have ended that in 2 seconds if you wanted to. Why didn't he? Why has he been weird for the whole month, ever since that night in the gym? Whatever. I need to roll over and get some sleep. Or at least try to. My ears twitch and I hear my door creak open. I want to sit up and see who it is, but the massive purple patch on my abs makes that impossible as I roll over to instead. Bruce is standing there, peeking inside my room. Our eyes meet and he looks surprised. The dinosaur hesitates, then opens the door and shuts it behind him. Hey. He looks around, feigning interest in the room. How, Bruce clears his throat and looks away awkwardly. How are you feeling? Get out. He sighs and for a moment he looks like he's about to exit. Listen. This has to stop. You need to leave. This is my room. No, you need to go. You need to leave Fang. I don't know how much longer I can keep pulling my punches without someone noticing. If this keeps going on, you're gonna get hurt. I know that, but you and I both know what Theodore said on the first night. Right. The contract. He takes a shaky breath in and exhales slow. If you leave right now, I'll pay your contract fees. Set up a payment plan, whatever it takes. But you need to leave tonight. And you need to never come back. To be continued. Oof. Thank you for reading the demo for Undefeated. Yeah, it's the usual stuff. Anyways, so it was kind of obvious that Bruce did not like fighting Zander here. And it's kind of funny that Zander doesn't get in his thick head what Bruce has been doing this whole time. He kind of seems like that person that is too wrapped up in his own thing to really notice what's going on. To notice that something is wrong with Redline. Maybe not to notice that he's an alcoholic, poor guy. But like still to notice that there's something going on with Redline. And basically to realize that what was going on at the beginning, well, in the ring with Bruce was just sort of like, okay, let's like make this convincing and I'll just knock you out real quick and we'll leave that at that. And Zander was like, no, this guy isn't taking me serious. I need to beat him. But in reality, it's like, dude, you're not gonna be able to beat him anytime soon. And if you actually put up a fight, he's going to hurt you because he's gonna have to hurt you. And unfortunately, that's what ended up happening. And I'm pretty sure that either because of his pride or basically his pride, he's not going to accept, having Bruce pay his fees. Because that would probably be the best thing to do is basically say, you know what, fuck this. I want out of my contract. And, I don't care, payment plan, whatever. And then Bruce would, just pay because nobody's going to defeat Bruce. It will probably be more difficult for Bruce eventually because the commissioner's probably going to realize like, hey, something's fishy going on here. You're giving money to this guy that we just, let go to pay off his contract. And, eventually it would be hard for Bruce, but at the very least, Zander would be okay. He wouldn't be getting, beat up relentlessly. But yeah. So, yeah. So this episode was interesting because it also talked about two things. Well, one thing in specific. The traumatic brain injury, which, for me, who grew up in a Mexican household, who, when I was younger, my dad would watch boxing, especially like the big fights. And then eventually as I grew up, I realized that, a lot of those boxers end up getting like a lot of traumatic brain injuries because you're getting hit in the face repeatedly. I mean, in the face, in the body, etc. But, sometimes in the face. Well, mostly in the face, I guess. And so it's also something that happens with football, American football, for some of you non-American people. And where a lot of the football players will end up with that traumatic brain injury, which changes the person a lot. And I think that there was a case, not recently, but like recently-ish, where when a former football player ended up, I think, murdering his wife. And it turns out that it wasn't like, he murdered his wife because she cheated or something. It's because of the traumatic brain injury. And that a lot of football players, as they retire and things like that, that traumatic, injury from, being tackled relentlessly, repeatedly over and over, especially for like the linebackers at the front, that it impacts them later on in life. Like a lot of cognitive issues, like memory issues, their personality and things like that. That happens, that's a real thing that happens with, boxers and apparently MMA. Well, obviously MMA fighters and a lot of people that are in contact sports. And if you recall, this was technically mentioned earlier in the previous update where Redline and Zander were talking about their parents and like their formal I guess athletic training or like sports and stuff like that they did, where I think it was Zander who mentioned that his father first put him into, I think, no, it wasn't that. It was again about the football, where in the past they were how they are now, where they just, have the helmet and padding and stuff like that. But eventually over time, they started adding more protective gear for the football players, which I'm assuming is something that they should, start doing now. I mean, seriously. And, for them not to be so injured. And given that this is basically MMA fighting, it's like, this is like the roughest sport that you can get into, because you're basically fighting and punching and kicking and doing everything you can to basically hurt the other player a lot, so that they either get knocked out of the ring or just you knock them unconscious. Because like if you see MMA fighting in real, some people do get hurt really badly, like broken bones and just like eyes injuries and stuff like that. But yeah, oof. Also alcoholism with Redline, poor guy. I'm assuming, well, again, it goes, well, I'm not putting it on Zander because he didn't know that Redline was an alcoholic. But I'm assuming that it didn't help that Redline's roommate is being so dismissive of him. It's being kind of a jerk. Like Bruce basically telling, Zander, like, hey, stop being a jerk to Redline. Like, Bruce is more self-aware of what's going on with the poor hyena than Zander, his roommate. But I guess it also stems back again to his upbringing, where something that Bucky brought up with the whole machismo thing. And I'm trying to remember a comment that someone left in the previous video, where a lot of what's going on with Zander is something that you see a lot in his, I'm gonna say Mexican households because I'm Mexican, and it's something that I can speak from. Where for the previous generation, from me, which I guess would be like the baby boomers, they have a lot of this like machismo thing in like the whole Mexican culture, where it's like, oh no, you can't cry. You have to be like the strong one. You have to be basically like basically it's like, don't cry, you little wimp. And you can't feel emotions. You have to be stoic. You have to be like, the mom is like subservient to the father, and like a whole lot of like stupid shit like that. And basically sexism. Sexism is a prevalent thing in Mexican culture. And if any Mexicans out there, you can't say it's not true, because it is. So at least knowing that one of the artists that works in this is a Mexican, it's like, it's very like, like this seems very familiar. But yeah, so like a lot of that leaves you stunted. So it would kind of explain what Zander is going through, at least in his inability to see that like Redline wanted to be genuinely his friend. The fact that Redline is kind of annoying doesn't, mean that he can't be a good friend. And like, you shouldn't be comparing yourself to other people and stuff like that. He's messed up. The poor dear boy is messed up, thanks to his dad, basically. But yeah. Anyways, write down in the comments what you think. And this will probably end up being one episode, unless I end up having to split it, or if I can find like a good place to split it. But yeah, so thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to play Undefeated yourself, you can find it over on itch, and you can find a direct link to it from the creator's Twitter page, which I will link down in the description. Unless they have an Undefeated Twitter page, which I don't remember, because it's been a while. It's going to be a while for the next update too, I think, because the writer has, I think they have like something going on with their hands, where I think they might have to have hand surgery. So while round 5 is being already written, it might be slow to come out. So yeah. Well, slower. But yeah, so might have to wait a little bit longer for the next part. And what else? And but yeah, so if you want to play the game, you can find it over on itch, and all the pertinent links will be down in the description, along with any Patreon or any coffee or anything that that will help you support the project or the creators, etc., etc., etc. Along with my coffee, in case you want to support me. It always helps, and it's always nice. You don't have to, but if you want to, you can do it. But anyways, but yeah, so I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.